Socrates, one of the most revered figures in Western philosophy, left behind a legacy of profound teachings that continue to influence modern thought. His approach to wisdom, ethics, and the pursuit of truth has inspired countless individuals over the centuries. Here are 15 of the best lessons from Socrates that remain as relevant today as they were in ancient Athens. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates famously proclaimed during his trial that the unexamined life is not worth living. This statement encapsulates his belief that self-reflection and critical thinking are fundamental to living a meaningful life. For Socrates, it wasn't enough to simply go through the motions of life. One must constantly examine their thoughts, actions, and beliefs to ensure they are living in accordance with truth and virtue. This process of self-examination helps individuals to identify and correct errors in their thinking and behavior, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. In essence, Socrates taught that without introspection, one cannot truly know oneself or lead a life of purpose, of acknowledgement of ignorance. One of the most profound lessons from Socrates is the recognition of one's own ignorance. He famously stated, "I know that I know nothing," highlighting the importance of intellectual humility. Socrates believed that the first step toward acquiring true knowledge is to acknowledge the limitations of one's understanding. This acknowledgement is not a defeat, but rather a starting point for genuine learning and growth. By admitting that we do not know everything, we open ourselves up to new ideas, experiences, and perspectives. Socrates' approach encourages a continuous pursuit of knowledge, urging us to remain curious and open-minded throughout our lives. Virtue is the highest good. Socrates held that virtue, or moral excellence, is the highest good that one can achieve. He believed that living a virtuous life leads to true happiness and fulfillment, far more than the pursuit of wealth, power, or pleasure. For Socrates, virtue was closely tied to knowledge. He argued that to truly know what is good is to naturally do what is good. In this sense, virtue is not just a matter of following rules or customs, but rather an internal state of moral integrity that guides one's actions. Socrates' emphasis on virtue challenges us to prioritize ethical behavior and the cultivation of moral character in our lives. It is better to suffer injustice than to commit it. Socrates taught that it is better to suffer injustice than to commit it, a principle that underscores his commitment to moral integrity. He believed that committing an injustice harms the soul, corrupting one's inner moral compass and leading to a life of turmoil and guilt. In contrast, suffering an injustice, while painful, does not compromise one's ethical standards or character. This teaching encourages us to uphold our principles even in the face of adversity, reminding us that true justice is about maintaining our own moral integrity rather than seeking revenge or retribution. The Socratic method. One of Socrates' most enduring contributions to philosophy is the Socratic method, a form of dialogue that involves asking a series of probing questions to challenge assumptions and stimulate critical thinking. Socrates used this method to engage others in discussions about complex topics such as justice, virtue, and the nature of knowledge. Through this process, participants are encouraged to examine their beliefs, identify contradictions, and refine their understanding. The Socratic method is not just a technique for debate, but a powerful tool for discovering truth and fostering intellectual growth. It teaches us the value of questioning, dialogue, and the collaborative pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge leads to virtue. Socrates believed that knowledge and virtue are inextricably linked. He argued that moral failings are often the result of ignorance rather than intentional wrongdoing. In other words, people do wrong because they do not truly understand what is right. According to Socrates, once a person gains true knowledge of what is good, they will naturally be inclined to act in accordance with that knowledge. This perspective places a strong emphasis on education and self-knowledge as essential components of ethical behavior. It suggests that by increasing our understanding of the world and ourselves, we can cultivate virtue and make better moral choices. Socrates distinguished between mere knowledge and true wisdom, which he believed involved recognizing the limits of human understanding. He taught that wisdom begins with the recognition of our own ignorance and the realization that there is always more to learn. This humble approach to knowledge encourages lifelong learning and a willingness to revise our beliefs in light of new evidence. Socrates' emphasis on intellectual humility challenges the arrogance that often accompanies knowledge, reminding us that true wisdom lies in the constant pursuit of understanding and the acknowledgement that we do not have all the answers. Simplicity and self-discipline. Socrates advocated for a life of simplicity and self-discipline, believing that an excessive focus on material wealth and physical pleasures distracts from the pursuit of virtue and wisdom. He practiced what he preached, leading a life of modesty and restraint, free from the trappings of wealth and luxury. Socrates taught that by exercising self-control and prioritizing the cultivation of the soul over the accumulation of material goods, individuals can achieve a more balanced and fulfilling life. This lesson encourages us to reflect on our own desires and to seek contentment in simplicity rather than in the endless pursuit of external pleasures. Socrates believed that the soul is the true essence of a person and that its care should be our highest priority. He taught that the health of the soul is more important than the health of the body, as the soul is the source of our moral and intellectual character. Nurturing the soul involves the pursuit of truth, virtue, and wisdom, all of which contribute to a well-lived life. Socrates' focus on the soul reminds us to look beyond the superficial aspects of life and to cultivate the deeper, more enduring aspects of our character. This teaching emphasizes the importance of inner development and moral integrity over external achievements. Moral courage. Socrates exemplified moral courage throughout his life, particularly in his willingness to stand by his principles even when faced with death. During his trial, Socrates was given the opportunity to renounce his beliefs in exchange for his life, but he refused, choosing instead to accept his death sentence. This act of moral courage demonstrates the importance of staying true to one's values, even in the face of significant personal risk. Socrates' example teaches us that integrity and adherence to one's ethical convictions are more valuable than avoiding hardship or punishment. It challenges us to consider what we are willing to stand up for, even when it is difficult or dangerous. The value of true friendship. Socrates placed a high value on friendships that are based on mutual respect and the pursuit of the good. He believed that true friends help each other to grow in virtue and wisdom, rather than merely providing comfort or pleasure. For Socrates, friendship was a vital aspect of a well-lived life, as it provides support, encouragement, and the opportunity to engage in meaningful dialogue. This lesson underscores the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who inspire and challenge us to be better, rather than those who simply agree with us or make us feel comfortable. Socrates' view of friendship encourages us to seek relationships that contribute to our moral and intellectual development. Socrates believed that the pursuit of knowledge should not be limited to formal education, but should continue throughout one's life. He viewed learning as a lifelong journey, driven by curiosity and the desire to understand the world more deeply. This approach to learning encourages us to remain open-minded, curious, and willing to revise our beliefs in light of new information. Socrates' emphasis on lifelong learning is a reminder that personal growth and intellectual development do not end with schooling, but are ongoing processes that enrich our lives and enable us to make more informed and ethical decisions. Socrates believed that the search for truth is best pursued through dialogue and interaction with others. He saw philosophical inquiry as a communal endeavor, where individuals engage in discussions to refine their understanding and approach the truth. This perspective highlights the importance of community and collaboration in intellectual and moral development. Socrates taught that by engaging with others in thoughtful and respectful dialogue, we can challenge our assumptions, broaden our perspectives, and move closer to the truth. This lesson encourages us to value the insights of others and to seek out opportunities for meaningful discussion and debate. Socrates argued that ethical behavior should be based on rational principles rather than emotions or societal conventions. He believed that reason should guide our actions, leading us to act in accordance with what is just and good. This rational approach to ethics challenges us to think critically about our actions and their moral implications, rather than simply following our desires or conforming to social norms. Socrates' emphasis on reason as the foundation of ethical behavior encourages us to develop a clear understanding of what is right and to act consistently with that understanding, even when it is difficult or unpopular. For Socrates, philosophy was not just an abstract discipline, but a practical guide for living well. He believed that philosophical principles should inform how we live our lives, make decisions, and interact with others. Socrates taught that by applying philosophical concepts such as virtue, justice, and the pursuit of knowledge to our daily lives, we can lead more thoughtful, ethical, and fulfilling lives. This lesson encourages us to see philosophy not as a distant or esoteric subject, but as a vital tool for navigating the challenges of life and achieving personal and moral growth.